podcast with Frank, Jalil, and we got Lou from LB Cuts in the building.
Yes,
What's up, guys?
sir.
Lou, how you feeling?
Doing good, man. I'm excited.
Excited?
Yeah, privilege.
Yeah, I heard a lot of good things about you. Heard you got a
Same.
good story. Can't wait to show the world.
Guys, thank you.
So typically we start off from where you began and where you begun. I'm sorry, and where you're at now. So, where are you from? In the country, city? Where are you from?
Well, I was born in Colombia. I was born in South America. Came to the U.S., Philly specifically, at 2 years old. So, Philly, not born, but pretty much raised, you know what I'm saying? But I still, my parents, they kept a lot of the Colombian culture in our household. So my siblings and I, Spanish is our native language, you know what I'm saying? Of course, we've adapted to English being over here. But Colombian food, Colombian, the language, the way of being, it's still very much a part of me. So
What age did you come over?
I was 2.
Oh, 2?
Yep.
Wow. Oh, yeah, you from Philly, bro.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
You from Philly, bro.
Yeah, I still feel very much from Philly.
What part of the city did you come to?
We came to, I guess it's North Philly. It was 5th and Wyoming. So spent 3 or 4 years living down that way, and then migrated up to the Northeast. And that's where my mom bought her house, set up. I went to Northeast High School, graduated 2003.
So household,
Crazy.
growing up, who was all in the household with you? What did that look like?
Mom, dad, and I'm the oldest of 3.
Oldest of 3, brother, sister?
I have a sister who follows me and a little brother after her.
Okay.
Them 2 were close.
So you were looking after him.
Yeah. I have 5 and 6 years between my sister. They're only a year apart. So
Okay.
5 years, and then my little brother was born.
Big bro.
Big bro.
Yeah.
Yep. Big bro.
How was it growing up on 5th and Wyoming? You stayed there the whole time, or did you guys move?
No, we stayed right on 5th and Wyoming. My dad, he came to the U.S. first. You know what I'm saying? So my dad arrived here first, and about 6 months later, my mom and I pulled up, right? So my uncle, my dad's brother, who was already here, he had a car mechanic shop. Okay. Well, my dad, he chimed into the same business, but he did the auto body work. So they both kind of like did, collision and auto repair all together in one. And that's where my dad started off. So about 6 months later, he sent for my mom and I, and the apartment that we lived in was directly across the street from the shop. So super easy, And then right around, I remember being in 1st grade and going to school right near Tarkin Playground, which is up in the Northeast then. So I know around 5, 6 years old is when we moved from North Philly to Northeast. And then, spent, the next 15 years or so moving around up until my mom in 2001 bought her house. So.
Was your dad into mechanics or cars his whole career?
No, he got into that when he first got to this country. He did work on cars when he was back in Colombia, but he also worked at a variety of jobs, you know what I'm saying? And then when he came here, my dad's now passed. He passed in 2008, but he was, no, that's all good. Thank you guys. He ended his career as a machinist. He worked, I forget the company's name, but very, very meticulous and detailed parts for, I believe, airlines or one of the airline companies. So I remember him coming home and telling me the precision cutting that he had to do to the millimeter, for all these parts over and over. And my dad was a good, I guess, had a good work ethic, but he was very meticulous about what he did. And I noticed that not only at work, but at home too. My man's shoes were always in order. His closet would be color coordinated and shit, you know what I mean? So he's very organized in that way. And my mom the same. I get a lot of my work ethic from my mom too. My mom hustled hard throughout her whole life to just make ends meet. You know what I mean? And
how was your relationship with them growing up though? Let's say before really you went off into your own. How was your relationship growing up in the house with your siblings and your family, like your mom, your dad?
I would say pretty normal. You know what I mean? Of course, when you're growing up, man, you kind of
you always think it's normal. You always think it's normal growing up. And you look back was it normal?
You look back and you're like, oh man, there was some shit in my household,
Yeah.
But
if you want to get into that,
so I had no problem with that. Honestly speaking, if we're being transparent, loving when it was loving, But you know, my dad dealt with alcoholism. You know what I'm saying? So I saw a lot of like, you know, him going away on weekends. You know, not coming back for 2-3 days. You know, but from my mom's side, there was always that love and care and like that sacrifice. Always do what you got to do. So, you know, now that my dad's passed, man, you know, we can get into that, but it took me a while to forgive him for the way that he was and like, you know, the times he wasn't there, you know, but at the same time,
To him, that could have been normal.
you know, yeah.
If his father was like that, that could have been normal to him.
Yeah, and that's, you know, there's a piece of my story that I then forgive my dad for that exact reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For not understanding up until someone said to me like, well, how do you know he didn't do his best? You know, even though he
That
fell
could have been his
short. You know what I
best.
mean? That could have been his best depending on how he grew up. So
So that was
you
done
know,
learn for you
Yeah.
to forgive him.
To forgive him. To
Okay.
forgive him and move past my you know, my troubles, my anxieties, you know what I'm saying? That nasty feeling that I had towards him, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like when he passed, it was a sudden thing, you know. He went from being sick on a Sunday to 3 days later he was no longer with us. So then it was super sudden. I didn't get a chance to talk to him. So for years I held on to that. And
What people don't realize is that negativity that you're holding on to affects you more than anything.
Yeah. Major, dude. That's huge. When people hold on to grudges, that's themselves putting that energy out. You know, or holding on, or you know, providing that energy to then even hold that much of a grudge. It's better to just let shit go. You know what I mean?
Because you're not going to fully understand everything, and I feel like that's where people fall short of, because they want to know why or they don't understand it, and they hold that resentment or that grudge, and it's like you got to accept it and move on.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. Learn to forgive and move on.
Yes. So Fifth and Wyoming, that's a pretty rough area right there. How was it for you, like outside of the house?
Man, to be honest, I don't really remember too much of that. I remember growing up with my cousins, though. You know, my uncle who was here, he also had kids here. So I remember spending a lot of time with them, like family together time on the weekends. You know what I'm saying? Just spending a lot of time with them. But I can't really remember like being outside there. You know
How
what I mean?
about the Northeast, like breaking out of your house and getting in your friend circle outside? That's where you started growing friends at?
Yeah.
the
More in the
Northeast more?
more in the Northeast. You know what I mean, as you get to like
Middle
you know,
school, high
yeah,
school.
exactly. You know what I mean? Ending elementary school in 5th grade, moving on to 6th grade. You know, you start to develop like your closer friends, your cliques, and then of course by high school, yeah.
And well, you said you went to Northeast?
I did. Yeah.
How was Northeast for you?
Northeast was cool, man. It was very diverse. You know what I'm saying? A bunch of kids. I was, I think my graduating class had 600 people in it or something, 600 plus. So big school. You know, I like to think that I, you know, mingled with a bunch of different.
Diverse in the sense of like different races and stuff?
Yeah.
So what do you think percentage-wise what it would be as far as 50% black, 20% white, 30% Spanish, or
Bro, honestly,
30,
between
30, 20?
Bro, I think it was like the 520s. You know what I'm saying? Like there's white, black, Spanish, Asian,
yeah.
Indian,
African.
You know, yeah. There's a little bit
Northeast
of
is very
everybody.
diverse.
It's like United Nations up there.
It's diverse anyway up in the Northeast, even like outside of the schooling. What did you like find yourself clicking with anybody particularly, whether it was a gang or a group or a race or?
I think if anything, it was more the sports guys.
Sports? Okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I played a lot of soccer growing up. That led into high school playing. But you know, when you're practicing your sports, you know, you got football players out there. You got, you know, the field field hockey with the girls. You got a bunch of different people practicing at the same time. So when it came to the locker room, everyone played their own sport, but you intermingled with a lot of the sports people, you know?
You had soccer dreams?
Was that?
Yeah, soccer
of course,
dreams.
man.
Yeah.
Of course I had soccer dreams, man. But I knew that I could probably take it to the collegiate level, but nothing past that, you know what I mean? And I'm very happy. I was asked by Manor. It was a small school, D3 school. They asked me to play, but I was already cutting hair at the time. I started cutting hair at 13 years old. So
We'll get into that.
I was doing I was doing this, you know, I guess back then it was on the side, you know what I mean? Because I still had my Dunkin' Donuts jobs, you know what I mean? I worked at Ralph Lauren, school, soccer, but I was cutting hair at 13.
Let's get into that. How'd you start getting into cutting hair?
Bro, it was so my dad, I'm underneath this hat, I got no hair, I was bald. So my dad, same thing. He always had a set of clippers at the house, right? And one day we were going to a family party. At the time, I was already at the age of getting my haircut after school, walking to the barbershop, walking to the hair salon, get a haircut. Well, my little brother, he wasn't cut. So my mom's like, damn, I didn't get a chance to get your brother's haircut. I was like, yeah, I can do it. I don't know, no idea what made me say that. You know what I mean? But I knew my dad had the set of clippers, and when we walked upstairs from the basement, my mom just looked and she's like, that don't look so bad. You know what I mean? I would love to see pictures of that shit now 'cause it's probably trash. But her words encouraged me to keep going. So my little brother was my guinea pig for real, for the first several tries of cutting hair. And then my friends that I was hanging out with, you know what I mean? Back then it was, your boys who you played street hockey with or fuck, you know what I mean? Like you just grab whatever. So they started noticing my brother's haircuts and they're like, yo, my mom said you can cut me. I think the parents back then were probably like, yeah, it saves me, $10 to get my son's haircut, so let him do it,
Yo, listen, do you have any clients from back then, from when you first started cutting this day?
Yeah, I actually have my longest standing client. I've started cutting him at 14.
Wow.
Yeah, and he still is one of my best friends.
He was
today.
getting the sea hooks back then,
He
wasn't
was getting the sea hooks.
Remember everyone?
Yo, he
I
was,
couldn't
man.
get him because my hair was too blonde. You couldn't even see
You
him.
couldn't see him. You couldn't see him.
Nah.
Dang.
And I
Yeah,
never
I
had no
still got my
facial
boy
hair
Christian.
either. You used to get like a little bit of facial hair underneath,
Bro,
like the
those-
spray.
Yeah, those are them days where you made any little facial hair into something. You know what I mean?
So
Yeah,
what about
man.
your brother? You don't cut your brother anymore?
No, he's like me, man. He bald, bro. So
Beard or
he does
nothing?
himself. He comes in every once in a while for a beard cleanup, but
Yeah.
other than that, no, man, not so much. But
So-
yeah, my boy Christian's still with me, man. Yup.
That's
I was
nice.
the best man at his wedding. He was the best man at my wedding. So we're
Oh,
close,
wow.
man. Close friends, man.
That's nice,
Yup.
man.
What made you get into barbering more seriously?
I think it was that.
And this thing could go so many different ways because I know there's so many different topics, but I want to just focus on
Yeah, no,
the,
listen,
the,
we can-
the haircutting and the
I
barber.
will be as open as I can. So
Appreciate it.
Of course. So looking back, I would probably say that summer after graduating high school, and then leading into, oh shit, what am I gonna do in September, right? Like because I had, like I said, the opportunity of playing with Manor, and they were offering me a little bit of money to go play there, but deep down, I didn't think school was for me. I think the one mature thought that I had back then was like, I don't want to take someone's spot on a team, and then
No, you're not taking it
know that I'm
serious.
not taking the education side serious, right? So then, went home, talked to my mom about it, but I was deliberating, the military. I was deliberating school, and then of course cosmetology school, barber school was always a thing on the plate too. That I was like, damn, I really enjoy doing this. I just didn't know which way I went, but by July, when the coach approached me and he's like, yo, Lou, I need to know, like, are you doing this with us or are you going to, chase something else? And I went home, talked to my mom, and she's like, look, I really don't want you going to the military. She's like, but at the end of the day, you got to follow what you think is best for you. What do you want to do? And, hair school was just it, and I decided on that. So I think at 18, September of 18, when I was 18, I started cosmetology school, and 10 months later, I graduated. So
Now you did that just to have your actual license. Like you
Yeah.
can already cut. You've been cutting for 4 years by then. You can
Yup.
already cut.
I was
pretty
already
good.
cutting. Yeah,
It's
I
just to
was
get the license.
It was just to get an official license. You know what I mean? Yep. For the state of Pennsylvania, of course, you needed it.
Yeah.
And trust me, I went into barbershops, not necessarily asking if I can cut there, but can I just hang out? Can I sweep up? Just to kind of get a feel for the business. And other than being able to get a haircut there, no one really let me hang out. Which is cool. I understand now. They had a business to run, but
You just wanted to be around it.
yeah, I just wanted to be around it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it was the decision that I still live today. So, by summer of 19, I was licensed in Pennsylvania, and then here we are. You know what I mean?
And
But
you.
the age of 19?
At the age of 19.
Okay,
yup.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
So how did that work as far as getting an actual job and getting legitimate? Because you could cut hair in your basement all day long, but
Yeah.
to do it like legally, I guess you could say you went there to get your cert,
Mm-hmm.
you got that licensed. Then what was your next steps after that?
well, I knew I didn't want to work in a basement because I wanted to get the exposure of just being known outside of like my friend group, right? And technically, it's not legal to do. You know what I mean? So, around the corner from the school that I went to, which was up near what is now Philadelphia Mills, it's still Franklin Mills to me, but I went to the cosmetology school up there, and around the corner from there was a barbershop called Blades. So my homie, he used to go there before he was getting his haircut with me. And he's like, yo, Lou, he's like, I think that barbershop would be a good spot for you. So based on his recommendation, I went to the owner, and back then the applications were a piece of paper. So left my application and started there with him, and that's when I started my official,
How was it structured to get paid when you're working for someone else?
Yeah, bro, that was commission based. That was 50-50. And
50-50?
That was 50-50, man.
Oh,
yeah, this dude, he was, I'm thankful for it all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It taught me a lot. But I also remember very much the days going in and doing 0 haircuts. You know what I mean? So like being the young dude in there, being eager, of course. Anybody that walks in, yo, I'm available too.
Yeah.
But being young, I can.
They're scared of the new guy.
They were scared. They were scared of the new guy. So what I remember, what I still feel today, still fuels me up, is those days of you go in, you start at 11, you leave at 7, you start at 12, you leave at 8, and you cut nobody. Well, 50% of 0 is still 0.
Yeah.
So that's still, I don't want to say haunts me, but it pushes me. You know
Hunger.
What I mean?
It keeps you hungry.
It keeps me hungry. You know what I mean?
So how does that work if you don't get any sales? You don't cut anybody for the week. You still don't have to pay them anything, right?
Yeah, no, I don't have to pay him anything, but you also walk away with nothing too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
if
How?
it was,
Oh, go ahead.
no, it's
go
okay.
ahead.
If it was the other way around, I don't know how long I would have lasted there if I had to pay him while not making any money either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was tough. And of course, I still had like my group of friends that were coming to me, but that wasn't going to feed me all week. You know what I mean? That was going to be sporadic throughout the week. Some of my friends that would come up, you know what I mean, getting cut every other week. So it was a slow build, but it definitely has fueled me up. It definitely has taught me to be proactive about how I promote myself and how I manage the book, how I and I still use some of those tools today that I established back then.
That's what I wanted to ask you. How did you promote yourself back then? Because it wasn't any social
no
media.
No,
so how was it? Was it just like word of mouth?
Word of mouth, handshakes. Yup, word of mouth and handshakes. Something I still do today is flyers in everyone's door. It's back then I was just printing out thousands of flyers, and then the owner of the shop did it for me when I first started. That's where I got the idea. It was like, oh wow, this is still like hitting the ground running. You hit everybody with a flyer, and some people might come in, some may not. But I believe if you put out 1,000 flyers, you get two people to come in. If you impress 2 of those people, out of the 1,000 flyers that were sent out, and then you give them the good experience, give them a good quality service, have them talk about other people to other people about you.
That's the best referral.
That's the best referral, and that's what I feel like is still good about what I do today. Where, don't get me wrong, I think social media is important. I like to use it. I think it's a great tool to grow. But a topic in our industry, in the barbering industry, on social media is, if social media went away, how would you do? Because can you still do it without social media? You know what I mean? Which means being a personable person. Not being the flyest barber. As far as talent goes, haircutting talent, it's not always going to keep you busy. It's not always going to, it might impress some people here and there, but, to me, a professional person is you can, not on purpose do you want to take away from the quality of the haircut, but if you give someone an excellent service, if you're professional, if you greet them when they walk in the door, all of this matters. You know what I'm saying? That's a part of people's experience, So that's where, even from back then in those years, I always thought, the attention that someone gets could really make or break the experience.
Yeah, you got to have a pleasing personality when you're in business, it's called. So that's just basically like being able to talk to people, being able to be relatable, making someone feel good. How do they feel after they get a haircut? Yeah. And for me, like a barber is like some type of therapy too. I'm sure like you hear.
I hear a lot. I hear a lot. And it makes you feel a part of the community in that way. Not to like go, talking up everyone's business to everybody else. No, it's not. But just being a good ear, an open ear, someone that can just listen sometimes. You know what I mean? Not even spit their own opinion out. I tell people that all the time. Like, yo, of course, like the therapist word has always been used. Like, yo, my barber, my stylist is my therapist, because you get out, what you most likely can't get out to other people in your life. But it, I feel it makes me feel good. to have gone through the things that I've gone through. And when you can relate to people, no matter what it is, and let them know exactly that, you know, it's like, yo, listen, you know, you can just hit me with it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not, no judgments, no nothing like that. It's just get it off your chest. I feel like you're going to feel a whole lot better when you get things off your
you
chest.
see people like they're venting to you about something. You see like they might be like disruptive or disgruntled about something, and hey, everything all right, this and that. But then you also see people coming in to get ready for a wedding or like the best times of their life too.
Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah.
So you see both sides of the person, and it's like we're all humans at the end of the day.
Absolutely, man.
So
yeah,
you treat them like a human being.
Dude, it's this career has you know, I feel very blessed. I feel, you know, extremely humble all the time because you know, I don't think that I have it all figured out. You know, I do believe that if I were to stop, this could all go away. So there's a big fuel that keeps me going. But it's a cool job to have. Like, you get to meet people, you know, with my own talents. Like, they you know, you can impress people to come back and be a returning client. So long story short, I love what I do. I get to do something fun. I get to create my own form of art.
Nice ass spot too,
You know,
by the
thank
way.
you so
man.
much.
Yeah, it's a
Thank you so
beautiful
much.
spot.
Yo,
Good environment, good atmosphere.
that's awesome. I appreciate you guys. You guys are welcome here to get a haircut or hang out.
Trying to get some new customers.
You need
man.
2 hours on his head. That's a big head.
So yeah, no, guys, it's about everything, man. It's you know, providing a dope place for people to come in and feel at home, but also serving your community. You know what I mean? And then at the same time, giving people who work with us the opportunity to make a living themselves. You know, and include even more of a community, because I'm only one person. I can only do so much, right? I can only cut so many heads in a day. So when you provide a cool place for people to work, Alexa, listen.
Yeah.
So when you provide a cool place,
Alexa gonna drop the podcast before us.
bro, it's just like a win-win-win scenario that I play over and over in my head.
Well, because you got a good heart, I could tell. So if you got a good heart and your head's in the right place, you're thinking about your community, you're thinking about your customers, you're thinking about your employees.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of business owners fall short. If they do fall short, selfish. If you're just pouring out value, how can you lose?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
Everyone wins.
it's
It's a
just,
win all the way around the board.
You know, have that. You know, for me, it's having that word integrity follow me. You know what I mean? As much as possible, because guys, straight up, I'm not a perfect person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I try my best. I think I put my best foot forward, but you know, there's always something I can work on. You know what I mean? There's always something that I can improve on. But that is it, man. And when you have core values, you know, and you treat people respectfully, and you know, you just, you know, try to follow and run your business with integrity. So not, you know, the community wins when everyone has a place to go to and get a cool experience, right? You know, the barber wins because they get a dope place to work and make money making people happy. You know what I mean? You know, the community wins when we give everybody, you know, when we do charitable things, when we do fundraisers, when we do Toys for Tots, when we give out free haircuts for whatever. You know, it's a win-win-win.
When you bring good employees in and you clean up in your shop, and it's not like that place that's a nuisance. Like, there's barbershops, I'm sure you know, that are nuisance barbershops.
Yeah, we all know. Yeah. Used to have one. Yeah.
Well, I do want to get into, like, so the Streets of Success podcast, right? So a lot of people think, because me and Lil were incarcerated, like, I never went to jail, I can't get on the podcast, or I'm not really from the streets. But like, growing up in the city of Philadelphia, there's always that chance of getting into the streets or being around the streets or somebody you know, and you make one bad decision and you can live a whole different life. So I wanted to get in a little bit about, like, some of the things you had to deal with growing up in this city that, you know, one bad decision, you could have had a whole different life. So there's some, like, events or some things that you got into.
I literally was about to ask you that too. But this boy like the auction. He like 35, 45. He won't let me get a question in.
No, so I would say life started getting a little fast for me. Ironically, at a part where it was going extremely well too. So by 19, I was licensed, right? I went to work at a few spots after that, and I got to know the barber industry, right? So I got to work for a couple different people, and then I realized I was like, I know I can do this for myself, right? But what I didn't have in mind was the fact that I was going to be running a business, right? So when I first opened my first shop, I was 25 years old, and you know, simply based on being able to afford the rent at this location, I was like, okay, cool. I can own my own place. I had no idea, the tasks of, bookkeeping, managing people, promoting. I was doing that, but I didn't know that I was doing it. My head wasn't in that space, and that's because at the same time of opening up my shop at 25, I was introduced to a lot of different people doing a lot of different things. So while in the chair, you would hear this person, has things available, and then the next person needs those things available. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not all so kind by the law. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Made a couple decisions back then and started doing things that I shouldn't have been doing. At the time, yeah, it looked good because financially things were okay, but what I didn't consider at all was who I was affecting by making those decisions. So it's crazy looking back because for all the years that I was, call it what it is, I was hustling. You know what I'm
mix.
saying? I was in the mix doing, as long as it made me $1, I was doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until from 25 years old at 31 I went to rehab. So
So you ended up using.
I ended up using, you know what I'm saying? I ended up pretty much, not following the rules, as Biggie likes to say with 10 crack commandments. You know what I'm saying? Don't get high on your own shit, right? So I ended up doing that. Partying became a very normal thing for me. Alcohol became a very normal thing. Things that I said when I was younger started becoming true. Like my father, who I expressed earlier, went through some alcoholism things. I turned into what I said I always didn't want to, and life hit me hard. Life hit me hard. But at 31 is when I cleaned up my act. I'm thankful. It had nothing to do with the law. It had nothing to do with family. Honestly speaking, I think going back to that day, it's a vivid memory of me expressing to my girlfriend at the time. She's now my wife, mother of 3 beautiful kids. She's everything in my life. She makes me the man who I am today. So with me saying that, she was the one who I admitted that I had a problem to. It was the first person that I looked in the eye and I said, I have a problem. And it was February 17th, 2017. I was done work then at 11 o'clock at night. And I think God spoke to me that night because it was just a voice in my head that was like, you're done. You're not living like this anymore. Today is when it ends. And when I said that to her, she's like, well, I've known, so what are you gonna do about it? You know what I mean? And in the back of my head, I guess I knew people knew, you know what I mean? But you're in denial for so long yourself that you don't want to believe that, And so, right at mid-February, she's like, so what are you gonna do about it? And I was like, look, I'm gonna close down the shop. I'm gonna do another shop when I get back. I'm like, but I'm gonna go to rehab and fix this shit up. I don't want to live like this anymore. I've found you. I feel like you're super special to me, and just wanted to live a life where I wasn't controlled. You know what I'm saying? By alcohol and taking pills, and you know what I mean. Like it consumed me. I was 100% addicted to the shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would go through withdrawal very quickly if I didn't have what I needed. So, making that decision was obviously at the time very hard, very embarrassing. You know what I mean? You feel like less than a person. You know what I mean? Not even less of a person. You feel like less than a person. And so I'm glad I did though. That was the start of my new invented. You know what I'm saying? My newly invented version of myself. But this is the long story short. I can get into it. I would say at 31, coming back with this new mindset was the reinvented side of me, but there was a lot of things that I had to go through. In other words, like therapy that I dealt with in rehab, not just physically getting off of the stuff that I was on, but mentally and emotionally going through the things and like really diving in deep. You know what I mean? So talking about my dad's absence as a young kid, talking about the just things domestic violence that you see growing up. You know what I mean? So you get into that in rehab, and it, those are dark spots, dark places that, we bury. You
We
know what I
don't
mean?
shed light on it.
Yeah, we don't shed light on it because it's kind of like, well, if it's not on the surface, then I don't have to deal with it. Well, it all came up. You know what I mean? And then during my rehab, which was 2 months long, my girlfriend at the time and my sister came down on family day, which was for me. And so a very pivotal moment during rehab was when they called me out. You know what I mean? Like, it was my turn to, my family was there. I remember the facility had, they called it big group, and there was like everyone in the facility, men and women. And then the group who was up front, it was like 10 people in my group. Everyone was behind us. They sat almost like this, almost like my girl and my sister across from me. And my therapist was like, looked at them and was like, say everything you want to him. All the things that he's done to you, all the things, you know what I mean? So, I remember being in that circle, and I'm like, man, and they're just like, and they're talking, and they're valid with everything that they're saying. Like, I did some very dumb and nasty things, you know what I'm saying? Like, things that I'm not proud of, like, and verbal abuse, you know what I mean? Like, physical abuse, mental abuse that, I hurt people, you know what I mean? The people, sadly, the closest people to me are the ones that got it the worst. But that was on day 40, 42 of me being down there. And it was the owner of the facility who was also a recovering addict. And he was sitting to my right, and he sees me as they're getting me, they weren't attacking me, but they were just calling out all my shit. Right. So the owner sees me getting a little bit red, getting, I guess, emotional and, flustered, if you will. And then so he stands behind me. I notice him stand up, and I'm still sitting down, and his name's Gus. So what he does is he stands behind me, and he starts tapping my chest like this, like, yo, Lou, let it out, And I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, breathing heavy, you know what I mean? I'm, tears are coming down my eyes now because I'm like ashamed of everything that they're saying, but they're telling the truth. So it's like, I got to own it. You know what I mean? This is the real first time that like a lot of these things were coming out. And leading up to those 40 days, the therapist would tell me like, you're being honest, but you're not being real. And I didn't understand it at first, not until Gus kept smacking my chest and going, yo, Lou, let it out. And every time he smacked me, it was getting closer. It was like the knots that were in my gut and my belly, they were just like coming up. And finally he smacked me one more time. And I'm like, all right. And it's kind of a blackout, but from what I remember, it was me screaming a lot of the reasons why I hated myself. You know what I mean? I remember saying like, I hate myself for, physically abusing this person. I hate myself for verbally abusing that. I hate myself for selling fucking drugs to so many people who have gone to rehab, and like I've impacted their lives and their family's life. You know what I mean? Because all of that emotion is a ripple effect. And, I probably went on for what is like 2 or 3 minutes, but it's not like I threw chairs or nothing like that. I was just like angry, and I was like, crying, very emotional. But when I was done, it was a moment where I came to, and Gus was just like, yo, he was on my shoulder like, you did it, man. You did it. You let stuff out. Now let's work on it. You know what I mean? Like, now you let out all the skeletons that were in your closet. Now let's work on those things, And as I looked around, I have this vivid memory of a lot of people in tears, a lot of people crying, you know what I mean? And they gave us a little break after that, shortly after that. And, a lot of people in the that were in the room, they walked up to me, giving me hugs, like, Lou, I had a couple people, I remember saying like, man, I've been in rehab like 17 times and I haven't been able to do what you just did. And, I remember this one woman came up to me, and she's like, along the lines like, thank you for being a man and like expressing yourself in that way, but I didn't want to be thanked. I felt like shit. You know what I mean? I felt like a terrible person because all of this stuff that made me a negative person just came out. And your esteem, you can imagine, is super low, but at the same time, I have to admit, I felt I let go. You know what I mean? I felt free of the things that were bothering me as a bad person. You know what I mean? That so I was able to just like exhale in a way because all my truths had come out. You know what I mean? And I knew I had work to do beyond that because there was a lot of amendments. There was a lot of, pretty much for everything that I had just said, I had to go and make it right.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of work still to do, but it did feel good in that
The
moment.
first step was over, though.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's the biggest step.
It's like it was one thing to surrender mid-February and go to rehab 2 weeks later. That's one thing. You're admitting your guilt, right? Yeah. But there was a whole new, like that day 41 or 42 was a very pivotal day in my life because that dude smacking my chest got me to say all of that. And I feel like since then, I've become an advocate on, just speak your shit. You know what I mean? Like, it might be to a parent, it might be to a best friend, it might be to a therapist. You know what I mean? It might be to a spouse. It might be a complete stranger at a bus stop, but don't hold it in. You know what I mean? Try not to bottle things up. Try not to hold it in. And this is hard to do. Like, guys, I'm not saying I have this figured out, but I like to think that these days I don't hold it in for too long. You know what I mean? And I like to express what I'm feeling and how I'm feeling, and things I can still work on my delivery. Sometimes if I'm an irritable person, but I'm talking to my wife or I'm talking to a homie in here because they're a comfortable shoulder to lean on, then it might be my delivery where I'm like, I'm still I feel all that passion, I feel all that acceleration still coming out, and I go, man, I still have to work on, even though I have to get it out. Yeah, take a deep breath, figure out what you want to say, how you want to say. It's so it's something that I try and tell myself a lot is it's not what you say, it's how you say it and who you say it to. It's all of that matters. So sometimes taking a deep breath, waiting 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
The same thing is like when you're a business owner and you got employees, and your intentions are good, but it's like, I know this person's supposed to be doing the right thing. I'm trying to tell them how to do the right thing, but I'm hurting their feelings by the way that I'm telling them. And I'm guilty of that too, because I'm so passionate, or I think everyone's going to think like me, or I think like, to me, this is common sense. So it's like, you got to really work on your delivery when you're dealing with people.
Very
Communication skills.
It's huge. And so, coming back from rehab, I knew I wanted to start another business, and I got into books this time. That's where I put my time and attention.
Books
that I never did before. Other than school. I never opened up a book. I never read a book, right? And I came home with that mindset of like, yo, let's get to learning. More of like small business systems, people skills, people management. So a lot of the books that I've read touch on these things. It's pretty much understanding that when you do manage people or a household, not everyone's going to understand one way that you say it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might have to reiterate it. You might have to say it in a couple of different ways for people to understand. So I take that approach a lot these days. Is like, you can tell everyone to sweep up the floor, but how you say it to a said person you might have to change it how you say it to someone else.
Or how you want it done, or what time to do it, or it's a lot.
It's a lot. I like I said, not perfect, but I try my best to put my best foot forward and really approach things with a calm manner. Sadly, I think I do a better job of communicating here at the shop with clients, with the rapid pace of a busy day, with the employees. I feel like I do a better job here sometimes than I do at home. Because it's like you work so much on your patience and knowing what to say and how to say it while you're at work that I'll go home sometimes and I lose my patience with I got 3 young kids, right? So it's not to fault myself entirely. They're 6, they're 2, and 1. So there's a lot going on at home, right? But sometimes I lose my patience a little too.
And you probably spend more time at work than you do at home.
Technically, with the hours, I do. I do spend more time here, and I also think to myself, well, you've been doing this for 10 years. You just became a dad not that long ago. So it's not to give myself some slack. It's just like, of course, you're gonna have a better understanding with that side. You've been doing it for 20 years. So yeah, man, that's just my honest truth is like it's all the things that I'm learning on how to run and manage a business. I try and translate and transition into the family life at home too.
That's what I wanted to ask you. How was it transitioning after rehab back into society? were you strong enough to keep the same people before you left in your life that were probably using or that you was hustling with and stuff like that, or you just
No, I had to
cut them off?
Yeah, I had to. See. I don't like to say that I cut them off. It's more like I cut myself off from everyone because I had to find myself again. You know
I
what I mean?
like that.
You know, I don't like to think that I cut them off. They didn't do anything wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Even if
yeah.
they were living a lifestyle that was no longer for me, whatever works for people, right? So no bad blood towards anybody that I was hanging out with at the time. I just had to do this for me. You know, one thing that I picked up in rehab, well, amongst many things, but you know, in order to make other people happy, you got to make yourself happy first. So I had to focus on me. At that time, you know, my self-esteem was down. I was coming back to no longer what was a barbershop that I had for almost 7 years. You know, I remember, you know, coming back, shit, I was ready to come back to start working. I was on the plane on the way back, hitting up clients like, yo, I'm on my way back right now.
Oh, you left the state?
You know,
And
yeah,
where-
I went to Florida to do the rehab down in Florida. So I remember leaving there and like being so excited to have my phone again because you don't have a cell phone. So then I'm hitting up all my old clients like, yo, I'm coming back. And that was a humble reality too, is that not a lot of people came back. Maybe a handful, you know, out of over, you know, approximately 100 to 150 people that were sitting with me regularly. I probably had
Wait,
like
monthly? 100 to 150 people monthly?
yeah, bro.
Wow.
I was busy, man. I was busy.
Yeah.
And probably like 15 to 20 stuck with me, you know? So I went from being a
10%.
barber that was, I was, you know, a barber who was 5 days a week, 12 hours a day, busy all the time from 30-minute haircuts to hour-long haircuts to coming back and working 3-hour days. You know what I mean? 4 days a week. You know, like I didn't come back to much clientele at
Build
all.
it back up.
And that was humbling as fuck. Like that was can we curse on here? You guys
Yeah.
good?
Yeah,
Oh, all
no,
right,
you-
cool.
you good.
You know what I mean? That was humbling as fuck, man, because I was like, wow, like who you thought was with you, you know what I mean? All your you go away. I know it was 2 months, but man, that
Yo,
goes to
they
show
gotta,
you.
that hair be growing. The hair don't stop growing
Yeah,
once
hair
you're
don't stop
gone.
growing, yo.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
of course I'm very thankful for those who did stick with me, those who stuck with me, helped me
Shout out
get
to
back
all
on
those
my
loyal
feet.
clients.
Yes. I don't know what camera
Shout
we're
out,
looking at,
shout
but
out to his best friend
Yeah.
up in here since he was 14.
Chris,
Yeah.
my guy.
Shout out to
Chris.
Chris.
Yo. So
Shout out to wifey, man.
yo,
I'm sticking with you
major,
too.
Major, yo. Yeah, my mom was like, yo, if you don't marry her, you're stupid. When we got back, she's like, I would have told that girl to run if that was my daughter. And I'm like, yo,
Thanks,
fair
Mom.
enough. Yep.
Nah, but
Fair
what's
enough.
right is right.
Yeah.
One of the things that I heard you say that it's still stuck with me right now is you had to make sure that you're okay before you can make sure everyone else is okay. Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Like make sure you're the best version of yourself to give to other people. Because when I talk to a lot of people about, and they're like, I gotta make sure my kids are cool. I gotta make sure my family's cool. But like what you're really doing is doing them a disservice by not being the best version of yourself to give to them. So you're giving them like
In a way, yeah,
you're
yeah.
giving them like a burnout version of yourself, where
Exactly.
you're not at your fullest potential. So
Exactly.
what are you really giving them, right?
Yes.
You
yes.
got to get better, pour into yourself, so then you can overflow and pour into them. That's how I look at it as.
Yeah. No.
Because like, if you're not good, how can you make sure someone else is good?
Yeah. There was always gonna be then that like lingering anxiety, that lingering resentment, kind of. You know what I mean? Not even purposely built. It's just always gonna be there because you're like, well, I'm doing for them, but like, what am I doing for me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So obviously, I suggest for everybody these days, you know, healthier habits. You know what I'm saying? Hit the gym, hit a book. You know, therapy. Like talk your stuff out. You know what I mean? Breathing exercises, meditation, whatever works for you, right? But you know, I'm not saying it to be selfish, but I think that the word can be misused or misunderstood. You know, when I say selfish, yeah, you do have to work on yourself first, but you're doing it so that you can be the better version of yourself at the same time. You know, I'm not saying be selfish and like, you know, buy all yourself the nice stuff and leave your kids with the rags. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, not like that. Just, you know, put yourself first, you know, get your mind right, get your physical right, get your mental right. And then, you know, try to be the best version of yourself for them too, you know?
It's crazy because like, I don't use or drink or smoke or nothing anymore. It's been over 10 years.
Good for you.
I went to jail and then I made the decision not to do it when I came home. But like self-care, and then you have like drugs and alcohol, right? So
Yeah.
it's like usually if you don't focus on self-care mentally, physically, emotionally, you're not taking care of yourself, what are you going to go to? you're going to go to like some type of substance, some type of negativity, some type of distraction. So like, and growing up in, I guess, the inner city, like I haven't had anyone beat self-care into me. Like growing up, like I didn't go to therapy. I didn't, you know what I mean, have talks with my parents about.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of crazy that like it's either one way or another. Like
Self-care or character. A lot of times where we come from in Philly or anywhere growing up in the inner city, urban communities, we're just focused on the money and not focused on building a great character. So we don't pay attention on how we rub off on different people. We just like, man, we just need this money, just need this money. And then by the time you look up, there's a shitload of people that got money that was shitty characters.
Yeah.
For real.
Oh, yeah, no, you're not wrong.
We never look at it like that.
So what type of quality of life is that?
Exactly. You know, so and it is like listen, guys, I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't get into business to make money, right? Of course, you start a business to make money, but it's not the sole purpose. It's not what fuels me. It's not what inspires me to keep going. You know, what inspires me to keep going, and just to touch on a little bit of like what you said, Frank, was, you know, our parents didn't teach us to talk, and you know that. You know, when we were talking earlier about my household, that's something else I can remember too, is like things were kind of like swept under the rug. You know what I mean? Like if my mom and dad had a big domestic thing going on in front of us kids, like it was never talked about. It was just like they were done fighting, and then, you know, it wasn't talked about, you know? So that was, that's a part of me that now has changed. You know, I'm a father, I have kids. So, you know, there's been times, guys, like I just said, I'm not perfect. You know, I lose my patience sometimes. You know, there's times at the end of the day where I apologize to my 6-year-old. You know, Daddy's really sorry for losing his cool earlier. You know, like I'm gonna work on that. You know, I gotta really, you know, and you know, whether he understands it entirely or not, I want him to know that, you know, it's okay to own up to your stuff. You know, it's okay to own up. It's okay to be accountable. Just try and, you know, dig deep and learn from yourself and know what not to do next time, you know? So I'm trying to be, you know, it's a lot of pressure as a parent, you know, as I guess 3 of us in here might know, right? But like, it's a lot of pressure because you know, you want to do a good job at it, but you also have to know when you've done wrong, and then, you know, try your best to explain to your kids, okay, this is what I did. You're going to go through your own stuff, but it's okay to say sorry too. You know, it's like not excusing them with just an I'm sorry after every bad thing that they do, but like, you know, really talking to them. Yeah, really get them to understand, really talking to them, you know? So I don't know where we left off, but
Yeah, I just want to touch back on now becoming a father, that life's behind you. When you started taking business serious, when you started taking growth serious, when you started taking, you know, just life in general, like in a serious positive direction, what are some of the things you strive for your life to look like now?
Bro, I wake up every day and I thank God for the life that I have, right? Like things are good, you know what I'm saying? Nothing is perfect, and I don't expect perfect, but things are good right now. You know what I mean? Like I'm always striving. I'm always ambitious. Like if you ask me like my 5 and 10 year plan, I got one of those too. You know,
Logan asked you that.
You know, I got yeah, of course I got that. But I guess long story short, what I'm trying to say is gratitude. You know, I have a lot of gratitude for what I have today because you know, speaking of, you know, one wrong decision, you know, it could have gone another way for me. You know what I mean? I remember being on 95. This is while I'm still, you know, in the mix partying. You know what I mean? I was on my way down the shore on a Friday night, and there was a lot in my car, and I got pulled over on 95. You know, I had just smoked a bowl, and the cop's like, he pulls me over, and he's like, I smell the weed. Where's it at? So I show him the bowl, and he's like, where's the rest at? And I'm like, there's nothing else in here, man. And he's like, and there was 2 of them, and the one cop was telling him, he's like, I know he's got shit in his car. I know he's got shit in his car. And he wasn't lying, but I'm like, bro, no, I don't. And then so they made me get out. They did the sobriety testing and all that, and I passed it. And you know, I kept denying the fact that I had stuff in there. But long story short, I remember they let me go. They probably gave me a few tickets or whatever, but they let me go. I turned around and went home, and I was like,
You didn't even go down the shore.
No, I didn't go down the shore. No, I didn't go down the shore. I was like, bro.
You ran to the bay from you were shooting
Yo,
yourself.
I was scared as shit. I was like, bro. And the cop was like, he's going to go right down the shore as soon as we let him go. And I'm like, I promise you, I'm going the fuck home. I was like, I don't want to deal with any of this. But that was also very, very scary times. And that is the one that comes back to me where I'm like, wow, that could have really
Derailed your life.
derailed my life, right?
You could have been up there with me and Frank, man.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like,
For
Cutting
real.
my hair in the south.
dude, for real, like that's the one, man. I got, and this is not a proud moment of me telling you this story, bro. Like, it's not cool of me to say any of this shit. This is just
It's real life shit.
It's real life shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
And but
saying?
like not only that, like because you said you're sitting back like, damn, life is good right now. But someone else might have that same life as you and might not even think that because they're ungrateful.
Yeah.
Or because they didn't go through what you went through and they have nothing to compare it to say that their life's great.
Yeah.
They might have been born into a good life and a good family. And then they could not have the gratitude that you had because you went through the stuff you went through to see this is high. I was at the low. Someone else might be there and be like, this is my low. And then, but they don't appreciate
they don't
what
appreciate because
exactly.
they're not appreciating what they have every day. And that's what I'm saying is like, there's a lot of gratitude today. You know what I mean? I have, a thriving business. I have a beautiful home, a beautiful, healthy family. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot to be thankful for, So, like many people, I also have bad days, rough starts to a week, you know what I mean? Rough months, but I try to, calm myself down and come back to that. Like, bro, you woke up today. Like,
Got
you're
it
good.
good.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you have a vehicle to get to and from work. Like, you're good, man. You know what I mean?
If you can
if
count
we
your
can all get sucked into what's
if
not
you
going
can count
right
your
for us.
blessings instead of your problems, man.
Bro,
My
exactly.
whole thing is if I make it to my bed at the end of the day, a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
They make it to a hospital bed, a graveyard, or jail cell.
Yeah.
I make it to my own bed every night.
That's huge. Yep.
Maybe not the night we're gonna see. I think I'm gonna make it there, but usually when I'm laying in my bed, I reflect on my day. I'm like, I made it home. I won. I'm in my own bed.
Feet
Absolutely.
popping and everything.
Feet
Yep.
stinking.
He don't
but
care. He jumped right out. Socks still standing up when you take them off.
I can't sleep with my socks on.
Oh, man.
Can you?
Yeah, no.
Your celly told me that.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
So I'll let Lo ask a question.
You just threw me for a loop with that one.
Because your celly told me.
Yeah, this one play all day. Yo, no, but what Frankie just said. What do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Franchising or?
Along the lines of a franchise.
Okay.
What I think I have going here is a good system. You know what I'm saying? This is now me talking to all the books and all the knowledge that I got from these books, right? One thing I had to understand, even though I'm very passionate as a barber and I love cutting hair and I want to continue even after 20 years of being licensed and doing this shit, I still want to continue further in my education, working on my craft. There's the understanding that, you're running a business, right? So you have to systemize, you have to... different hats to wear throughout the day, even though, I'm doing what I love in cutting hair. There's you're running a business, so you're paying bills, you're managing people, you're handling schedules, like there's you're hosting, you know what I mean, a lot of things,
System.
Yeah, my system, what I feel like is it's something I'm always going to be working on, but where I see myself in 5-10 years is having a few shops, and not necessarily do I feel the need or want to be sole owner of these shops. Side note, I've had a number of people ask me to become investors because I guess they see the vision and they see what I've done in even 3 years. And I'm not saying any of this as a brag, guys. This is just, grind every day, wake up and you know what I'm saying? Put your work hat on and go. No matter the hat that you got to wear, get up and go. So,
No, these are opportunities that are coming to you.
yeah, this is just, this is hard work. Anybody if I see a successful business out there, if I see that they've grown from 1 truck into 2 trucks or 1 location into 2 locations, I don't judge the owner for, what kind of house he lives in or the car that he drives or, you know what I mean? Like that's not, the material stuff isn't where the validation is. You know what I'm saying? Like that, that guy deserves that stuff because we don't know the kind of, work he or she has done to get to that, So what I feel is, you know, I would love to see this one location grow into multiple locations for the sake of making, you know, opportunities for even more people, you know?
Yep.
So I would love for every single one of the people who I have working with me to eventually branch out and have their own location.
So you're
You
one of
know?
them people that your dreams have to be so big that their dreams can fit inside of it.
Absolutely. I
The
feel
big
like I don't,
thinker, visionary.
yes, I feel like this could branch out into a tree. And even though,
It's selfish if you didn't.
you know,
It's selfish if you don't think like for your people that are dedicated, that are here, and if you don't have other growth opportunities for them, and it's kind of your reason they're hitting their ceiling, then it's like I'm not thinking big enough. I'm not doing more.
exactly. And I feel like there's potential for everyone who's here to eventually get to that. But at the same time, Frank, I'm not obligating them to do that. Like if they're a happy person coming in and like, hey,
That's what they want,
Lou keeps me busy. I'm the 40 hours I'm here. I'm making money. I got a cool place to work out. I got cool ass clients that come in. You know, then great.
Entrepreneurship isn't for everyone.
It's not
anyway.
for everybody. That's cool. But if it is, and you know, said person is like, yo, Lou, I want to do what you're doing. I see, you know, like, and not just like the car that I drive or the house. I mean, that's not what I'm talking about. It's you know, I look forward to people who want to grow because they themselves see like the vision. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I think about it. You know, for me, it was having a wife, having kids. I realized my time was not balanced whatsoever. My time was 5 days a week, 12 hours a day. You know, I would have legit 48 hours off in the week on a weekend to, you know, do the things I had to do. Well, you become a dad and you're like, damn, I gotta be home more on the weekends, or, you know, there's practice after school, or, you know, even school, like drop off, pick up. You know, I'm like, damn, how do I? This is making, you know, makes your head think like, how can I, you know, still, I guess, make a certain amount of money to make our ends meet, pay the bills, do the things that we want to do. But at the same time, I don't want to lose clients. I don't want to, you know, so it makes you think, and that thinking is what gets you to try new things. And that's where the entrepreneurial spirit, to me, lives. It's like, you know, truthfully speaking, I don't think I have any fucking clue what I'm doing. I'm just waking up every day and I try my best, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but I
that's how
learned
it
from my
usually is.
experience.
Yeah.
I learned when I fall, I feel that, and I know I don't want to feel that anymore. So I'm going to continue to work on, you know, fixing those things, upgrading those things, improving on those things to, you know, run a successful business. And so
Comes down to leadership. Like what you're saying a lot is like you want to empower people to where they can become better versions of themselves. You can step away, you give them an opportunity,
Yes.
and you're both growing, right? Like
Yes.
it's a
Yep.
beautiful thing. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing about entrepreneurship.
It is, and I do think that you're, you know, you're very right when you say like it would be selfish if I wasn't thinking like this. Like, you know, I don't want to be, you know, I don't want to be the guy on top and go, oh yeah, look at these 1,000 people, they all work for me. You know what I mean? Like that's not fun to me. You know what I mean? To me, it's like, yo, that guy started off one shop and like, you know, Mike worked with us for 3 years and now, you know, Mike got a wife. He's now understanding the balance of time. And, you know, I say wife and kids because that's my life. But, like, what if the guy just wanted to be a coach to a baseball team and he couldn't be here 3 nights a week?
Yeah.
Like, yo, Mike, I got an opportunity for you to do that. It comes with a different set of responsibilities. It comes with things I have to show you and teach you. But the opportunity is there for you to still continue making what you're making and freeing up your time.
And potential more.
And
in the
potential
long-
for more
Yeah.
and growing and still balancing your time well, making good money, and you know, keeping the LB brand.
The crazy
alive,
thing
you
is
know?
like becoming the best version of yourself or getting uncomfortable enough to tap into more potential that you have.
Yep. And that's, again, it's not something that you can teach people, in my opinion. You know, like, you know, people might.
You can inspire them.
You can inspire them. Yeah, you can show them by, you know, example. You know, you can express to them that, yo, look, I'm doing this and this because of this, and this. You know, but yeah, like it's where I see this, where I see the brand, where I see the shop is, you know, 5-10 years from now, we're gonna have a few locations. You know, right now, you know, we're sitting in, you know, Port Richmond, Fishtown. This is always an argument here because I don't know where the fuck I'm at. But, you know what I mean? Port
Right on the
Richmond,
border.
Fishtown.
Ask Frankie, this Frankie
You know.
neck of the wood.
I wouldn't even know. I'm trying to sell a house, so it's Fishtown.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're trying to sell a house, it's Fishtown. If you're going back 20 years ago, to me, this is still Port Richmond. But, but you know, I've had, I'm almost 40 years old, man. A couple of my guys, they left to Jersey to live and work. Some guys moved up to the Philly outskirts, Bucks County, Montgomery County. So I see really the shop being, a shop being up in that, northern side of the Philadelphia area. And because I live in South Jersey, I see a shop being down that way too, But
do you have a plan written out?
I do have a plan written out, man.
Do you have meetings with current employees to give them and get the wheel spinning for them?
Yes, we do.
Awesome.
I would say it's like seasonal. We have meeting. I mean, we talk all the time. We communicate, via our group text. Obviously, I'm the most vocal person in that group text. As the leader, I feel responsible in not just teaching them what I know, but also getting their input. Like I want their input. I tell these guys all the time, like, just because I'm doing it my way right now doesn't mean that I think it's the only way. You know what I mean? Like you might work for me for a year and go, hey Lou, have you ever thought about X, Y, and Z? Like it might allow us to fit 3 more people in for the day, or it might be that we can save money on waters if we order it from this thing. Like I'm open to suggestion. I don't think I know it all. Like I said, I just think I've learned from my mistakes and I pay this much attention to every little thing, to every big thing, but the people who work for me, their opinions, they matter a lot. So, I like to think that all of this is considered and all of this is where the system is put in place, and that's why I think there's never going to be a perfect system because I'm always going to try to improve on it. Right. So, but I don't think that I still think we can grow into multiple locations. I am one person. I can't be in 2 locations at one time. But if you set up, if you set up a system, if you set up a plan and you work on that plan, like, you will always figure things out. You know what I mean? I believe that relentless state of mind is what keeps us going,
Yeah. I see LBs in LA, Miami, every major city, you feel me?
Yo, thank you for that, man. I appreciate that.
If you set up the system, you set up all right, I know, because what it costs and what it takes to set up a location. Mm-hmm. You see the potential in somebody. Oh, yeah. You're the shoulder to lean on for questions and stuff like that.
Yes.
And you just help them get on their feet, so they're going to feel indebted to you. Oh, my bad.
No, you're spot on.
It's definitely possible.
It's possible. It's possible. But it's again, for the leader of that barbershop, you know what I mean? Say you were brought on, right? It would be, yes, I'm consulting. You can always count on me. Like, you're never going to fail because I'm not going to let you fail. If you have a problem, that's my problem, right? But all of the things that I've known thus far, all the systems that I'm going to put in place for you are going to be like, bro,
you just saved me 2 years of headaches because
Yeah, this is our booking company. This is how we run our books. This is our accountant. This is our
marketing strategy.
You know
this is our
anything that you need within this structure. Anything that you need within this structure, I got you.
You could probably start a business, just starting haircutting businesses, like a consultant or dude, online courses. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. The
course.
The course is something that's been brought up to me several times, and transparently speaking, like, bro, I get shy in front of the camera. So it's a big part of.
I can't tell,
bro.
Today,
yo,
you're doing good.
No. And this is what I try and tell. Like, I have a social media manager. She's a part of the system, right? She's, it was taking up too much time for me. I didn't, even though I love doing social media for the sake of promoting and doing cool videos, it was taking up too much of my time. So I remember, having that threshold moment of like, do I pay someone to do this? Because for a while you're like, Joe, I can just keep the money and do this myself. But, so it became a part of the business, the system, right? We have a social media manager. And I tell her this all the time. I'm like, Jade, I promise you I'm going to get better on camera. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm just shy. But if you catch me on a regular, in other words, candid moments, if you just come in here and just record what's going on, like, you're going to get the most authentic version of me. You know what I mean? And that's what I feel like I'm giving you guys right now, because it's just me being me. It's just me being,
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, for sure.
Great story. Great business.
And yes, thank you guys for the vote of confidence, because I do believe that I can open up a few of these. And it might be that I'm the sole owner of, all of them, but it doesn't have to be that way for me. You know what I mean? I can see us growing into more, and the consulting side of things is huge. So
you have the playbook, right?
Yeah.
Now you're just replicating.
Yeah.
But it comes down to people. That's what it all comes down to.
That's the biggest one.
It all comes down to people.
Yeah. People have asked me, what's going to be your hardest part, like getting the money together for, and I'm like, getting the money and aesthetically putting a place together is
Probably the easiest part.
the easiest part.
Yeah.
It's finding who's going to work the system, and that's people, humans, and that's going to be the hardest part.
I got you, bro. I'll run the next one. I'm gonna practice on Frankie.
Fuck my shit up.
All right, but
So how can people reach you? How can they find you? Where are you located at? Give them all your details.
all right, so guys, look, Lou Bravo, representing LB Cuts. Right now we have our first and ongoing location is here in Port Richmond, Fishtown. You can follow us on Instagram at lbcuts.phl. You can follow me personally. I am Lou Bravo Hair on Instagram.
What's your address here?
This here is 2731 East Cumberland Street.
Okay.
So we're right along the 95, the Highway 95 and Cumberland Street. So if you get off Girard, exit 95, super easy for you to find us. We're 2 lights away from that.
And you take walk-ins?
Yeah, we accept walk-ins. We're open 5 days a week, Tuesday through Saturday. We do accept walk-ins. By the weekends, preferably with an appointment, just so that people don't come in and waste their time. But I like to think that we're moving and grooving, man.
And you'll find someone. Everyone's here. You're stamping all your barbers.
Yes, absolutely. That's something that I take a lot of pride in, and it's 3 years. You guys asked me earlier, do all the chairs full, and I'm happily I get to say yes, but that wasn't always it. You know what I mean? I started by myself, and then there was one, and then there was another because
and then some drop off. And then
some people aren't for the shop. So something that I do here when I introduce people that are working here is I don't charge them any money. You know what I mean? So in other words, like there's no rent, there's no commission split. They get 100% of what they do for the first couple weeks. And that's just like, hey Frank, you don't know what it's gonna be like at my shop, so come on in. Like if you do nobody, you didn't lose anything. But if you any amount of money that you make, you walk home with, 100%. You're making more than me. You know what I mean? Because I have overheads, right? So even I don't walk out with 100% of money. But I want you to try it here. And if it's not for you, be honest. If like, yo, Lou, thank you for the opportunity. It's not for me. I don't really like the vibe. Whatever it might be. I don't want people here that don't want to be here. But if it is for you, then cool, bro. Here's your, kind of like a sign-on bonus. You know what I mean? An incentive to try it without a risk-free trial.
Wait, can you take any more barbers in here now, or you're at full capacity?
I'm at full capacity, but I'm going to create another station,
And maybe another spot to start implanting people at, right?
Yeah. There's
Take 2 here, got 2 open chairs here. Now you got another 3 over here with them other 2 you just took from here.
Yeah, dude,
so many ways.
Dude, there's so many different ways I can do it. But yeah, the vision is exactly that. And a couple things. I'm not sure when this podcast is gonna air, but
we're airing. This is dropping Wednesday.
Wednesday. All right, cool. So you guys are gonna hear a little something. First is we are creating another station in here. So there's gonna be eventually 6 barbers on, and then we're working on. Products, so we're gonna have our own LB brand of products, and it's a slow start, but we're gonna get there. And something I'm hosting this winter is a barbering class, a haircutting class, right? But I want to go a little bit more in depth, and it's touching on what we spoke of maybe a few minutes ago was the consultation, teaching people, spreading the knowledge, sharing it, because I do believe. We get nothing from withholding information. You know what I'm saying? You get more by sharing it. Instead of having that, like, for me, I don't have the mindset of like, oh, I told Frank too much. He might steal that, or he might. If it helps Frank grow, use it. You know what I mean? Like, let's share it, right? You never know. You never know. Even though we don't work in the same industry, the way your concept of business, the way you run your system, by being free and talking about it, you might learn something from me. I might learn something from you. I might. So we got that, but something this winter is, I want to host a class for, improving on men's haircuts, but I also want to talk about, client retention, client building, people management, time management, how to be, the most efficient person in those 8, 9, 10 hours a day that you want to work, and all of it is, still the idea of learning from my own mistakes, like I told you guys earlier, a barber who worked 12-hour days, 5 days a week. That's not normal. You know what I mean? Like maybe, what if somebody only wants to work 40? You know, what if somebody only wants to work 30? Well, my goal is to bring people on, and if you want to work 40 hours a week, or if you're a part-time person, cool, but let's make use of that time. You know what I mean? Like, let's make you the most efficient, most proactive person, so that the time you're here, it's not wasted. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you come in and you're using your time wisely, and then when you go home, you have the financial freedom to go live the life that you want to live, right? But you know, those are you know, just a little glimpse into what we might be getting into this winter. Is a class that's going to show more than just the barbering side of things. You know,
Growth mindset.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
Yeah, man.
Love it. Well, this episode is dropping Wednesday.
Yeah.
Lou, I appreciate you, man.
Dude,
Thanks
thank
for
you guys,
dealing with
man. This has
our
been a lot of
fiasco
fun.
in the beginning.
No, this
Great
is so cool,
story.
man. You guys are dope people,
We're
man.
gonna be in contact after this, I'm sure.
Yo, please.
Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks,
You
Lord.
guys are very
Appreciate
welcome, man. And you guys are just so we're clear, man. You guys are welcome to use the space. If it ends up working for you, doesn't have to be me. Use the space, man. Let's help each other. You know, any type of networking, anything that
That's
I can
love.
help
And
the
likewise,
podcast
too.
grow. Please let me know, man.
Appreciate it. Streets of success.
Right.